Okay, guys, back with the People's Princess. Working about as hard as our Congress right now. I want to start by addressing the video that I made yesterday about Cybertrucks and the threat that they pose. I'm so glad that nothing happened yesterday. I felt very strongly that yesterday was the perfect storm for an incident. Make no mistake, just because it didn't happen yesterday does not mean that the threat is not there. So if you haven't seen it, please go back and watch that video because the threat is very real. In fact, there are countries like Canada who are rejecting shipments of this vehicle for the very same reason that I'm speaking of. I'm not sure that any of my audience would actually have a Cybertruck, but if you do, I would return it. In fact, I wouldn't park near one. There was one at our shopping center the other day, and I immediately swerved around it. I don't want to be anywhere near one. So please be careful, be cautious, stay alert, and if you see something, say something. So here we are the Monday after the Super Bowl, and I'm about to say something I never thought I'd say. I'm gonna do a Super Bowl roundup. I'm gonna tackle this video the very same way I tackle my to-do list, which means we're gonna do the shit I hate first. So let's talk about Dumpy. There is a reason why he wasted $15 million of taxpayer funds so that his ass could be the first sitting president to go to the Super Bowl. He wants to appear as a man of the people. Guess whose playbook he took that from? Interestingly enough, if you watched it on Fox, you heard nothing but cheers. Let me show you the unedited version of Dumpy and Rapunzel leaving the field. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, the Secret Service calls her Rapunzel because like Rapunzel, she's hidden in her tower in New York City, as far as she can get from Dumpy.
So apparently the crowd booed the president at the Super Bowl, and Fox replaced the audio of them booing with cheering. I don't know about y'all, but that's a little bit terrifying to me.
This is propaganda. Propaganda is what happens in countries. Speaking of propaganda, I hear Fox News had an exclusive interview with Dumpy where he talked about the fact that he's serious about annexing Canada. Apparently, Dumpy said that Canada is costing America $200 billion a year. What he's referring to is something called a trade deficit, which means that we are importing more goods from Canada than we are exporting. Part of the reason why we have a trade deficit is because of the high price of gas and oil. The other reason is that the land in Canada is far more rich than what we have in the United States, which is exactly why he wants that land to enrich himself and his cronies. When I talk about the comparison to Dumpy and the Mustache Man, just remember that World War II was the world against the Mustache Man. This is going to be the world against Dumpy, and we will be the collateral damage. For the people that are laughing and making jokes about this, the Canadians are real fucking serious about going to with us.
America doesn't know. America doesn't know the same thing that Canada is hearing. I was just on a call with some very, very well-educated people. I mean, people who work in DC, lawyers, writers, like very well-educated people. And as of this morning, Saturday, February 8th, I was saying to them, yeah, Canada is preparing for war. And they were like, what are you talking about? They don't know. Like our prime minister yesterday, Justin Trudeau yesterday, was caught on a hot mic, but let's be honest, we all needed to know when he was caught saying it, that what I said earlier, like last week, what I said, that Trump is going to annex us, invade, he wants our critical minerals. It's a serious threat. It is not a joke. Jimmy Fallon is out there making jokes about, maybe 179 countries will watch the Super Bowl because we'll take over Canada by Sunday. Not funny, Jimmy. Not funny. And so I was on this call and I said, yeah, we're preparing for a war. And they were like, with who? With us, with the U.S. And I told them how serious it was, how Canadians everywhere have spent the last week boycotting the U.S. and looking up ways to make sure that they've sort of decentered the U.S. from their conversations in their lives. This is a very serious, we're not going back. And Americans are not hearing it. They don't know.
Hello, United States. You've been lied to. While you were watching the Super Bowl last night, something far more serious was unfolding. What I'm about to tell you isn't a conspiracy theory or an exaggeration. It's the truth, and it's being hidden from you on purpose. Last night, Trump stood in front of the entire country and said he wasn't joking about annexing Canada. Not a slip of the tongue, an actual declaration of intent. Canada heard that loud and clear, and what was their response? Try it and find out. Canada is not sitting back. They are preparing for war. Right now, they're mobilizing because they see what's coming, even if many Americans do not. During the Super Bowl, Canada actually aired commercials reminding us that we are allies, and this rhetoric is dangerous and unacceptable. Yet here in the US, those warnings were barely acknowledged. Let me ask you something. Why isn't this being covered? Why aren't you hearing it from the same people who claim to fight for your freedom and truth? It's because they don't want you to know. Keeping you in the dark means it's easier to control, easier to manipulate, and it ensures that when things escalate, you'll be caught off guard. This is no longer political posturing. This is a real international crisis brewing in plain sight. And it's going to threaten all of us, our friends, our families, and our futures. So if you care about this country, about peace, wake the fuck up. Look at what's really happening. Our Canadian neighbors are telling us. They're not just telling us and warning us. They're preparing for the worst. So please stay informed, stay alert, and protect your family. This is bigger than politics right now. This is about survival and doing what's right. So pay attention. Don't let the silence fool you. Because this is real and it's happening now.
And I want to be clear about something. Dumpy is so transactional that he can't keep track of the favors that he owes. We don't know if this is a favor to Vladdy, to the Heritage Foundation, his buddies on Wall Street, or the oligarchs. It's hard to keep track at this point. But what I'm saying is this. Right now, he is picking a war with our neighbors in Canada, with our neighbors in Mexico, with Greenland, with Ukraine. So remember what World War II was about. It was the world against one man. Now rethink the comparison between Dumpy and the mustached one.